How do earthquakes happen? Earthquakes happen when there's a sudden release of energy in the Earth as crust that causes the ground to shake. But why does that energy get released all of a sudden? Well, because the Earth's crust is made up of giant puzzle pieces called tectonic plates that are constantly moving, and sometimes they get stuck. Imagine you have a bunch of friends trying to play a game by moving these blocks around, but they can only move them in certain directions. They could push or pull the block, but they can't just move it sideways because there's friction, so they have to push or pull with enough force to overcome that friction. But if one friend pushes or pulls too hard or too fast, the block will suddenly jerk in an unpredictable direction. And that's kind of like what happens with earthquakes. The Earth's crust is made up of these giant plates that are always moving, and sometimes they get stuck. When they get stuck, the energy that's being built up by the plates pushing against each other gets released all at once, and the ground shakes. The point where the energy is released is called the focus, or the hypocenter of the earthquake. The spot on the Earth's surface directly above the focus is called the epicenter. Earthquakes can also happen when one tectonic plate slides past another. This kind of earthquake is called a strike-slip earthquake. These earthquakes can cause a lot of damage because the ground shakes for a long time. Most earthquakes are not caused by human activity, but we do cause a small percentage of them. For example, when we drill for oil and gas, we can create tiny earthquakes ourselves. But even though we don't usually cause earthquakes, we can make them worse. For example, when we build tall buildings on soft, loose soil, those buildings can amplify the shaking during an earthquake. That's why it's important to understand how earthquakes happen so that we can better protect ourselves from them. In the next video, we're going to learn about the different types of waves that travel through the Earth during an earthquake. So make sure to stay tuned. Thanks for watching.